What's up, everyone? So I think this is gonna work here. I got my mic on. I will not be looking at you. I'm looking at the road. But we filmed a video vlog the other day, and the recording broke, didn't work, whatever it might be. Which is always frustrating whenever you do stuff like this and you try and document stuff and you don't have oodles of time to do stuff, and you do stuff to try and share stuff, and that stuff doesn't work out because of whatever stuff you can't control. It makes things a little frustrating, but life goes on. So I decided to make a little video as I drive here to go get some work in and talk about what we missed out on, kind of a shorter version of the longer version of this podcast. So I want to start off with what's new and what's going on, and then talk a little bit about the past of what I've done to get to where I am and some obstacles and stuff like that along the way. So first off, cool news, I got an invite to try out for the TBT, which is the basketball tournament. You guys might have seen that on ESPN. They play for what, like $1 million or $2 million, something like that. They split amongst the winning team. Awesome opportunity to even try out for a team like that. That's in July, early July, I believe, the tryout is. Now, when the actual tournament is, it kind of depends. I think the team I'm playing for, I think it starts late July. But again, just a wonderful opportunity, and an opportunity that only exists because of this platform, which is really cool. I don't have, oodles of game tape. I don't have film. I haven't played in 10 years competitively, in the sense that I played Division III basketball when I was 22 was my last year, I think. I'm 31 now. So it's been a while, 9 years, 10 years, whatever, since I've played competitively. My game has changed. I've changed as a player, so I don't have any film that represents who I am. Now that's part of the obstacle, because I get people that ask me, oh, do you have game tape? Do you have film? And I knew going into this would be a huge, not issue, but something that I would struggle with. And the reason why is that when I started this process, I didn't think, and I was not good enough to have game tape. Like, I guess I could have gone and played somewhere and gotten some game tape. But the initial start of this process was like, look, I don't think I'm good enough to be a professional basketball player. Can I get good enough to be a professional basketball player? So the culminating event of this would be me being good enough to be a professional basketball player. It's not like I could have gotten game tape of me 3 months ago and sent it to a team and then been like, oh, you're good enough to play professionally. Because by definition of this journey, I was not good enough to play professionally. And I knew that going in. I only started playing 5-on-5 a couple weeks ago. It's been feeling pretty good. I might play some 5-on-5 today. But those are tough to film because it's just myself. It's just pickup basketball. I haven't even, well, it's not pickup. It's like open gym. So it's like competitive basketball with competitive players. I consider pickup like, oh, who's going to show up today, versus open gym is a known group of individuals who probably played at the collegiate or professional level, who are playing with a certain type of structure and form and fashion to that. But I don't want to film myself necessarily, because I'm only coming into the now of feeling comfortable that I might have the potential to be good enough. Remember, my tryout is in July for that TBT. It is May 14th today. May, June, and I guess part of July maybe, just May and June are still, what is that, like, it's July, early July, it's basically 45 days away. 45 days away. That's a long time to get better at your game, especially now that I'm playing 5-on-5 more. And so even getting game tape now, it's like, is this the right tape that showcases myself, versus being prepared to try out when the time comes around, which is in July. And even for like the G League, as preposterously awesome as it would be to even compete, not even make a team, just compete at that level, that's in August or September. So there's a long runway of attempting to get better. And people who hop on to this journey and support me, I really appreciate, but not everyone knows the origins of it all. So they're like, where's the 5-on-5? Where's the game tape? Where's the film? Well, first off, not everyone wants to be filmed. So put it this way. Imagine I'm playing 5-on-5. and I play sometimes with very good players. And let's just use this as an example. It's not true, this didn't happen, but let's just have a thought experiment here, my friends. I go and I play, and I'm gonna obviously show my makes and my highlights more so than not, especially if it's a YouTube short or an Instagram reel. And maybe I score some points in a guy who's very good. And this guy is a professional athlete. Does he want me showing just my highlights of me scoring on him? Like, what good does that do him? So why would that person want me to film? If I want to be invited back to these runs, I can't just go make a highlight tape of me scoring on people and then expect them to be okay with me being, at those events and at those games. It's just not realistic. So when I play one-on-one with people and I talk to them, they know that I'm going to post like my scoring opportunities. Now I'll post me getting dunked on and stuff like that. But when I talk to people, I'm openly honest about like what I'm doing this for, and I'm going to share certain things, and I'm going to, maybe not share certain things. Like if I really get someone with a good move that might be viral, what benefit does it do me relative to the person? I'm a trainer at heart. I want to help people get better. I don't want to put them in a situation where they look not inappropriately bad. That's not the right word. They look bad, but when they're not actually bad, they look taken out of context, maybe is the best way to put it, in terms of how they played and performed. So that's one of the thought processes you have to have when you film. Plus, not everyone wants to be filmed. If some of these videos get millions of views, why would everyone want to be filmed in my highlight reel? And if it was like a men's league, sure, I'd be more inclined to film it because you kind of know what you're signing up for. But if it's an open gym, that's like a sacred ground, man. That's private work. That's where I do things that, I'll make mistakes and make bad plays, and people will make bad plays because they're working on their game and they're trying to get better and they're trying to push themselves. So it's all okay to challenge yourself and push yourself, but if someone's filming and you're concerned that might be on camera and shared with millions and millions of people, well, then maybe you're not going to do what's best for you to get better. You're just going to cater to the audience of the camera. Again, things you have to think about when you want to film stuff. So people ask, why don't you play 5-on-5? I do play 5-on-5. I just might not film that 5-on-5. I might not share that 5-on-5. And I have been playing 5-on-5, and it's getting better. Things are progressing in the right direction. So other than that, I have a little bit of a glute issue that I've been actually kind of funny. I filmed the original podcast video of this on Monday. It is now Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. And it's so much better. It's much better. It did not feel good Friday or Thursday. And last Wednesday, a week ago, was when I heard it, and it really hurt. I really aggravated it. Just kind of a fluke situation. I couldn't really walk after it, as bad as that sounds. That's totally true. But now I'm playing. I'm able to play. I think it had a mobility issue in there. I had some hip issue that maybe when I heard it originally, the first time prior to that last Wednesday, but I heard it like 6 months ago, it might have been because of when I heard it then, it didn't heal appropriately. I didn't rehab it appropriately. And so that's why I want to talk a little bit here about managing the training process. A lot of people ask, should I do this workout, that workout? What workout do you do, Max? And I could send you every single one of my workouts, and it probably wouldn't do you much good, because working out is like what you do in the workout is a reflection of the plan you have originally and then how you manage that plan. And so that's really important to understand, is that the perfection of a plan doesn't exist. And you can't predict the perfect plan. You can only manage your current plan. And so what do I mean by that? All right, so let's break down this entire training process very quickly. I was like, I want to be a professional basketball player. I have a certain set of skills that are strengths for me that existed as a player. I can shoot the basketball very well. I am decently athletic plus. I'm not like a point guard ball handler. I can handle the ball just fine. I don't like turn it over and dribble it off my foot. But my game is not centered around shake and bake. It's find space and shoot, threaten the defense with the ability to make shots, make them guard me, and then that unique strength opening up my teammates, and obviously then playing good defense. So my hypothesis going into this was like, if I can become a very, very skilled shooter off the move, slightly off the dribble, make contested shots. I'm going to have high value and then not be a liability with my dribbling and stuff, and be a good defensive player. Like, hey, that guy plays good defense. And from there, that's value. That's a value add. That's a value proposition. So I identified my problem is I might be deficient in these areas. And I identified now my solution, which is the training. I'm going to do these workouts. I'm going to do these methods. But along the way, you might have aches and pains and injuries like I have here. And so the plan has to deviate. And so now you have to manage the plan. So the plan maybe going to a workout was I'm going to go and I'm going to work on my shooting ability. So I'm going to work on being able to shoot off the move. I'm going to be able to do high-speed shooting. I want to get better at shooting quick. Now, if my glute hurts, I can't do all those shooting activities. But I can still shoot the basketball. I can just challenge different aspects. I can still do quick release stuff. I can do certain drills that challenge that quick release. I can challenge my footwork. I can do things that aren't going to hurt the musculature of my glute and still get a training stimulus. So I'm managing the training process. And it takes some honest reflection because as an athlete, it's so itchy at times to try and train through something. When you're used to a routine, you're used to doing a lot, doing less or doing nothing becomes borderline unbearable at times. You start to worry, oh, am I getting worse? Not just am I not getting better? And then you start to have those thoughts creep in, oh, am I wasting my time? Am I doing X, Y, and Z? Because at the end of the day, measuring your progress in basketball, something like this is very tough, and having time off, you really have no way to measure your progress. And some of those negative thoughts start to creep in. Now, that's just, again, like part of the training process. It's just super natural to have, super normal to have, but not something that we should always, I don't want to say believe in, but always give too much credit to. Because those thoughts come up just because you're frustrated, disappointed, or maybe sad with a situation. So the context of that is important. And what I'm trying to get at is our ability to react in the very moment in time is sometimes distorted when we don't think about what we're trying to actually accomplish long term. So if I'm trying to manage my training, deep down in my heart of hearts, I want to do the workout I had planned. Oops, there goes my camera. Sorry about that. All right, I want to do my workout I had planned. I want to shoot off the move and do all this stuff. But I can't. And so I might in my head be like, I really want to do this. I really want to do that. And old me would have forced my way through it. I'm going to get it done because that little voice in the back of my mind is telling me, oh, you're missing out. I'm distorted by not thinking about the long term. If I think about the long term, and I mentioned earlier how many months and days I have until my tryout for something, well, maybe sacrificing, 3 to 4 days to make them lesser, not necessarily nothing, just lesser activity, lesser intensity, to allow myself to get more intensity out of my workouts is going to be way more beneficial for my long-term goals because I can train at a higher intensity on average than kind of suffering through this chronic 80% ability that doesn't allow me to be the best I can possibly be. So don't let the present and your current emotions distort what you're trying to do long term. In that's kind of how I've built my training process. So I talked about this a little bit in the first vlog. I'll talk about it here now. Is I wanted to layer things. So I had the belief I need to be a shooter. I need to maintain my athleticism and keep my athleticism because I'm getting older. Push it a little bit further. And so an example would be the progression model looks something like this. When I first started, it was like, let's go on the court and let's jump. Let's do some of our plyometrics on the court, maybe shoot on the court, and let's do that once every other day. And let's try and lift every day. And then maybe after 2 weeks have gone by and I don't have any aches or pains, I might say, okay, now we're going to try and go on the court every single day and maintain some of our lifting. Then I might say, okay, I want to do 2 court sessions every other day. So once one day and 2 the next day. And I'm going to be intense on one day and then less intense on the other. But at start, because I'm adding that in, I'm going to take away some of my lifting. But by the time that phase is over, after 2 to 3 weeks, I might add my lifting back in. So I'm now in a higher state than what I started at, if that makes sense. And that kind of layered progression model has been how I've built my capacity to train as much as I can train right now. And that's been huge because I knew that if I wanted to get better, I needed to train and train pretty hard. I also knew that if I would just try and train as hard as I possibly could, I would break down. It's not very sustainable. So I had to slowly build up my capacity the same way if you're going to go run a marathon and you can't run a full marathon yet. So you might run a couple miles here and a couple miles there and slowly progress as your body accumulates, or acclimates, I should say, to the stressor. That is the same idea I had with my training. But instead of running a marathon, it was centered around being on the court. And then I had the secondary goal of, maintaining my athleticism in the weight room, and kind of a tertiary goal of maintaining my athleticism through plyometrics. And those kind of merged together eventually to the point where I can do all three of those in a day now without having any aches or pains, versus having to stack them maybe, over a week and have one day with more of an emphasis and another day with another emphasis. And that same concept then applies to playing live action one-on-one. You see now with Trey, I'm able to play often, which has been awesome. And also like 5-on-5 and stuff, because one of the days or one of the weeks I actually played 5-on-5 3 out of the 4 days I had available, which is really good. And I didn't have any aches or pains. That's another great sign that I wasn't beating myself up too much. And I was actually prepared for it. So again, kind of a checks and balance to my own progression model. Was I getting the right kind of stimulus in my training to actually prepare me for this? And after not having those aches and pains, it told me it was. So that's a very good sign. So I just got to the workout here. I'm going to run now. But that's basically it. So I think I covered everything I wanted to. I appreciate you guys hanging in there. And thanks for joining me on this little car ride vlog.